Hi, everyone. This is Victor from Landis & Associates, and today I'm going to go over 5 quick tips on how to find a lost or missing transaction in QuickBooks Online. Now, this can be useful if you've entered a transaction and you're unsure of the amount that you put on there, or if you forgot to put the vendor name on a transaction and you want to just go in and quickly edit that transaction so that the information is accurate. Okay, for my first tip, I'm going to use the Recent Transaction button. Now, this is useful if you have just made the transaction and you realized, oh, I forgot to put the vendor name in, or oh, I'm not sure if I recorded the date or the amount of the transaction properly. So in order to get to the Recent Transaction button, we're going to go to the plus new button up here at the top left of QuickBooks Online. And we're going to go to the type of transaction we made. So in this case, I'm going to choose the expense transaction. So now that we have the transaction pulled up, I'm going to go to the top left here where this clock icon is. I'm going to click on that and it will pull up all of my recent expenses. So here is the one that I've just made that I think I recorded an error. So I'm going to click on that. And it looks like I have not added a payee here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the payee. And now the transaction has been edited. So we can save and close this. So for my second tip, I'm going to show you how to use the advanced search feature. Now, this is useful if you know the amount of the transaction and you maybe misrecorded the transaction to the wrong bank account, and it's useful for some other stuff too. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on this magnifying glass icon at the top right of QuickBooks, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go to Advanced Search. Now, you can search by multiple different methods here, but for now, I think the most useful is to use all transactions and the amount, line, or total. So what we can do here is we can search the amount of the transaction. Now, oftentimes you're looking through your bank statement and you see a transaction amount and you realize, oh, I recorded that check to the wrong vendor and to the wrong account. So right now I'm going to type in the amount here. So I'm going to search for $100. I'm going to click search and it's going to bring up all the transactions from this date to now. So I'm going to click on this transaction right here. And it looks like I recorded this out of checking, but I actually paid it from the MasterCard. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that, and I'm going to save this. And that's another awesome method to finding the transaction that you're looking for. So for my third tip, we're going to search by the vendor. This is useful if you've recorded the transaction and you know who you paid, but you're unsure of the date. I know QuickBooks autofills the current date that you're in when you're just getting into QuickBooks. So oftentimes the date can be misrecorded. So let's go ahead and search by the vendor. So in order to do this, we'll go over to the Expenses tab on the left-hand side of QuickBooks, and it should pull up this little side screen, and we're going to click on Vendors. So right here, it will show all of the vendors that you have recorded in QuickBooks. So you can scroll through this and look for the vendor, or you can type in the vendor name here in the search. Now, when you click on the vendor that you're looking for, it'll pull up this vendor's account here, and then we'll click on the transaction. So it looks like I recorded this as of today, but I actually paid this vendor on the 20th. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that, and I'm going to save and close this transaction. For tip number 4, we're going to search by the customer. This is useful if you recorded a payment that you received and you accidentally posted it to the wrong bank account where you deposited it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So to search by the customer, you're going to go over to the left here under the Sales tab, and you're going to scroll down and click on Customers. Now, the name here might be different depending on some of the settings that you have in QuickBooks Online. So let's go ahead and click here. And now it will show a list of all the customers just like it does with the vendors. So you can either search like we did with the vendors, or you can scroll through. So the company I'm looking for is ABC Company. So I'm going to click on this payment. This is the one that I think I might have recorded an error. All right, so now that I'm in here, it looks like the payment date is 8/15, when in reality they paid us on August 10th. And it looks like I posted this to undeposited funds, so that's great. So I'm going to save and close this. And there you have it. That's another very easy way to finding transactions that you posted to a specific customer. Now, for my 5th and final tip, I'm going to show you how to look at the audit log. Now, this is when you've exhausted all other methods of trying to find the transaction, and you really only have the date that you created the transaction. So in order to get to the audit log, we go up here to the gear icon, and we will go underneath Tools, and you should see Audit Log right here. So this feature is really only available for the primary account user or QuickBooks Accountant users. So if you're a basic user, you will not be able to use this feature. So let's go ahead and check on this. All right, so it looks like this. So our transaction that we're looking for was made on the 29th. All right, so there's a credit card expense right here. It looks like this is the one that we're trying to find. So what you can do is you can click here underneath the event, and that will pull up the transaction right here. And it looks like a payee was not added here. So you can either add your payee or you can create a new payee. So I'm going to click on Squeaky Clean Car Wash, and I'm going to click No here. And now this transaction has been found, and we made the adjustment that we needed. So there you have it. Those are my 5 tips on how to find a transaction that you've lost in QuickBooks Online. We went over some common errors that can be made in the recording process. So the best practice is to always double check your transactions before you post them to QuickBooks. But this is just to help you if you had made a mistake, which is common. All right, I hope you have a great week. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.